So, testimony time, right? Normally in these testimonies, we start out, I'm going to introduce myself. So I'm Darren. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. I used to be one way. Now I'm completely different. What happened was right up there.
Yeah. Amen. Amen.
But I also know that we also have to tell what we do, right? What our problems are. So I was in there this afternoon. I said, I need to make a list of all my problems. So I made a list. You guys listening? If your list isn't as long as mine, you haven't done the inventory step yet. Because it will be like this. But what I started figuring out when I was writing down drugs, drinking, fear, anxiety, divorce, gambling, everything you can think of, I'm the poster child for Celebrate Recovery. Woo! But I got to thinking about it as I was going through this list. As my list was getting longer, I was realizing these are not my problems. These are symptoms of my real problem. And my real problem is I did not have a relationship with God. You know,
Amen.
Once you get that relationship with God, all those other problems seem to go away really quick. But let me tell you about my mess that I used to be in. I was born and raised in Clinton, Missouri. You know, really, I'll probably get loud enough about this.
Can y'all hear?
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, just said it.
You're doing great, brother.
Okay. But I was born and raised in Clinton, Missouri. Now, I was born and raised to two parents, Maryland and Hewitt. We grew up there in Clinton, Missouri. I lived on a farm. I lived about a mile from my grandparents. Great place to grow up, right? Grandparents are right next to your door. You can bike to them, not a problem. So I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house. We lived on a farm. I had a lot of time outside. I spent a lot of time doing a lot of things. My grandmother Yvonne, was a pretty special lady. She was one of those people that if you wanted to find her and know where she was, the first place you checked was the church. You didn't check at the house. All right? You checked at the church. If she wasn't at the church, then she was home. She was mostly at the church. So I spent a lot of time going to church with her when I was younger. My other side of my family, my granddad was really family orientated. Every Sunday, it was mandatory that the whole family showed up at his house. Nobody ate dinner at noon until everybody was there. Usually we were the last ones to get there as my family because we had to come from church. So, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. I spent a lot of time going to church in the early days. At 9 years old, I was going to a summer camp, a Bible camp in the summer. And while I was there, I gave my life to Christ. Now, you're probably wondering, why does this guy stand up here talking about Celebrate Recovery? Because I'll tell you what, no matter what you think you got going on in your life, at any time the wheels can come off. Okay? And my wheels in my life were about, come on. First thing that happened was my granddad, the one that was a family man. He was so big on family that when he redid his house, he put a bar in the kitchen that fed 13 grandkids so everybody could sit in the same room. Okay? He wanted us all together. He died. He got killed in a tragic farm accident. Tractor flipped over on top of him. My mother, being the baby of the family, didn't take it very well. I'm 10 years old. When your parents, when you're 10 years old, when you're kids, the way they go, you end up going. You really don't have a choice when you're that age. So my mom got really mad at God. She couldn't understand why my granddad was taken away from her at an early age, right before his 60th birthday party. He had on Saturday, Sunday, we were going to have the party. So everything changed in our family. Shortly after that, Truman Lake happened. My family lived on a farm. We had over 1,000 acres. After Truman Lake, we had 30 acres. They took the rest. At that time, you couldn't go out and just buy more property. So we had to stop doing, my dad had to stop doing what he loved, what he'd grown up doing. He's 30 years old. He had to change careers. My dad got mad at God. Now I got a mom that's mad at God, I got a dad that's mad at God. And here they are. So we're going to start doing little things different. We went from the farm, we went to living in town. We went from being farmers to business owners. My mom started getting so involved in business and becoming a workaholic that not only did we have one restaurant, we had two. And then my dad had a business too. My mom would go to work at 4:30 in the morning, the last business would close at 10 o'clock at night. So where was our family time? Our family time was in the back of a restaurant. I got to see her between customers. I got to spend time with her between customers. I got to spend time with my dad between customers. It changed our whole outlook on life. We quit going to church. When you quit going to church, a lot of things change. Right? My mom started to make up for that to me and my two sisters. She started, we're not here, so I'm going to give you more. So we moved to town, right? We're in one of the better neighborhoods. We're the first ones to get a pool in the backyard. At this time, I'm 13. My oldest sister is 16. My younger sister's 11. But nobody's ever home with us. So guess what? Where do all the kids hang out when nobody's around? Everybody came to our house. We had the pool. We had everything else going on that you could have. But with that comes a lot of other stuff. A lot of stuff, you get the kids that are just want to come over and have a good time, but they start bringing up things. Next thing you know, there's alcohol involved. My parents started drinking, so there's alcohol in the house. So we started getting into it. You know, we started a whole different lifestyle, things that I'd never been used to before. But because of what my parents' choices, the kids go with it. You know, so often we see this generational thing with recovery because kids grow up with the same thing we do in life, unfortunately. But here we are, okay? Now I'm 13 years old. I have no parental supervision. I have everything people want in the world, and I've got all the neighborhoods come and hang out with me. I'm on top of the world. So what do? I do what anybody else would do. I start building stuff this, building stuff here. I started doing alcohol a lot at that time. I would get alcohol for kids. I would sell them alcohol. My parents would just replace it. They thought one of the other ones was drinking. They didn't know they were never home at the same time. Right? There was always a bunch of beer in the refrigerator. So I would sell it here and there. My first choice at dealing something I wasn't supposed to deal. Okay? Things got different. You know, at the same time, I was kind of upset because here I am, 13, 14 years old, and I have no family time. I see other kids, they have to leave my house and go home to their parents' house. Why? Because their mom called them and says it's time to come home. My mom was never there to call. My dad was never there to call. So I got jealous. I got hurt. I got angry. I got upset. And I took those hurt, angry, upset emotions, and I started trying to cover them up. So I would drink. I would start doing a little weed. I would start doing this. I would start doing that. Anything to kind of cover up those emotions. I had no parental examples at the time. You know, totally different lifestyle that I was leading. It kept progressing. When I became 16, 17 years old in high school, I was the one everybody got alcohol from. Right? My locker, those little slits in the lockers they have at the top, my locker was like 3 doors down from the principal's office. I can remember when I was 17, a senior, they would stuff the things, they would stuff their order with a piece of paper and the money in it through those little slots. And often on Fridays, when I opened up that door, they'd all fall out. I'd pick them up real quick for the principal's office. You know, pick them all up. And then I'd go get my sister, who was older, who could get the alcohol. And we go buy about $300 or $400 worth of alcohol every Friday night. This was in '85, $300 a bottle of alcohol. Right? Wine coolers were the big thing. Right? I don't know how many people I delivered those wine coolers to. And I'm just thinking, every one of us underage. Right? I didn't think anything about it at the time. But look at how much problems I was possibly causing with it. So here we go. I graduated from high school. Again, my life's starting to become a complete wreck. But I think I've got it okay. I can start doing what my parents do, right? I can have 2 personas. I can have my persona for everybody else, and I can have my nighttime persona. You know, I can put on the face to work. I can go be a workaholic like they do and work really hard. And then at night, I can be the party animal. I can do everything that everybody else wants to do. I can be the one everybody wants to hang out with. So that's what I did for a lot of years. And as I kept doing things like that, my life kept getting farther and farther away from God. You know, when you first see that darkness around you, you have this white light you can see. But as you keep doing stuff, that white light keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking until it's about this big and you don't even know if it's still there. You don't know if you can reach out and get it. Now I could go through a lot of things that I did over my 40 years after that. So I spent the next 40 years basically running from God. All right? I could tell you all the highlights, but there aren't very many. I can tell you a whole lot of lowlights. The first thing I had was I was married and divorced 4 times. And I don't mean how many broken relationships. Right? I got involved in drugs at a young age, and I just kind of stepped on the side of it for a long time. Right? I got away from it many times, and always kept going back to it. I became a Marine. Thought I found my calling. First 4 years in the Marine Corps. Thought everything was going to be great. Cleaned up my life, cleaned up my act. Thought now I found something that I can actually believe in and believe in it well. Next thing I know, I get hurt, and they put me out. My whole world is broken again. So what do? I go back to what I know best, right? I start covering up that pain. I start covering up those feelings. I start drowning them out with different things. I'm going along. I start working in the car business. Wrong business to work for anybody that wants to get out of drugs and alcohol. Okay? Wrong business. Reason being is I'm at one car lot. I'm in a car lot in Springfield, and I'm now the general sales manager. I got 300 people underneath me. Okay? Think about it, there's 300 people working there, and about 280 of them are doing drugs. Okay? We had 2 drug dealers that just serviced that dealership and made a fortune. The weekly thing was every Friday and Saturday morning was the first 8 cars sold got you a line of Coke. Whoever did the most cars got an ounce for the day. Great way to try to stay clean, right? Doesn't work too well. But I started that business. And I worked all kinds of hours. Okay? I used to work from 7 o'clock in the morning till midnight. If I got off at midnight, it was midnight. Now, when you get off at midnight, there's not a whole lot of healthy places to hang out after midnight, is there? I mean, if I wanted to even go out to eat something, I usually had to go to a bar. And then if I got feeling like I wanted to do anything else, the next thing I ended up doing was a juice bar. After that, because I really wanted to stay up until 3 or 4 later. Okay? So the whole environment kept getting worse and worse with everything I was doing. During that time, I had 4 kids. 3 of them with 2 different wives, the 4th one with a different wife, and then I didn't even know she was my daughter until she was 18. You talk about a slap in the face to me and her, and the issues that caused. I had a wife that, even though it was my fault, she ended up taking my kids and moving to Arizona right after I had them for the weekend with that. She wouldn't even tell me. Okay? I don't blame her. To this day, I do not blame her for that because it's all the reasons I made her do that. But still, at the time, I blamed her. It was her fault. It wasn't my fault. What did I do? Look at my lifestyle. It was crazy. And as I went along in this lifestyle, I kept getting farther and farther down. Because once you start, it's like a big whirlpool. You spiral, and you spiral, and you spiral down. And I couldn't figure out how I was going to get out of the spiral. I couldn't figure out why I stayed on the spiral, and why I kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper in it. And I didn't really figure it out until after God got a hold of me and started showing me things in the Bible. And one of the things that he showed me, I'm not good at following these pages, was Matthew. It's in the book of Matthew. It's in chapter 12. And it's verses 43 to 45. And it tells us, when an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid places, seeking rest, and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept clean, and put in order. Then it goes out and takes with it 7 other spirits, more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the final condition of that person is worse than the first. This is how it be with this wicked generation. That was me. Right? Every time I tried to clean up my life, I would do it. But the problem was, I left my house unoccupied. I didn't fill my house with good things. I just thought, I fixed the problem. I can go on doing what I was doing. Right? I'm not going to go back to that problem. Because I can go on doing what I was doing. It doesn't work that way. Because every time those other 7 spirits would come. So the first time it was 7. The second time it was 49. The third time, I don't even want to start thinking about the numbers. But I kept spiraling deeper and deeper, and that's why I was spiraling deeper and deeper. I ended up to the point where I ended up with cancer. Probably from my lifestyle. The problem with that was being in the car business and always being a manager and always working that fast as being a manager. Once I got cancer, I had to go get off work and stop working to take care of all that. I went through, took care of it, got into remission, ready to go back to work. And I kept getting that same old thing. You're overqualified. You're overqualified. You're overqualified. Wait a minute. You want the best of them possible, but you're overqualified. You weren't. I was overqualified. They were afraid of their own jobs. Because everywhere I went, I had to become a manager. Which I can understand that. I'd be afraid of me too if I walked in there. Especially if they knew my lifestyle. I wouldn't even really want to hire me. Right? But I heard that. So what did I do? I said, I could sell anything to anybody. I'm good at that. So I was sitting with my cousin. My cousin had always lived a different lifestyle. My cousin had always done a lot of drugs. And he goes, you know what? We ought to just go in business together. said, you know what? Why not? I didn't see any other choices for me. So I started doing drugs, big time. I didn't start off real small. I started dealing in ounces. Before the end of it, I was dealing in pounds. At the very end of it, I was doing 2 pounds a day, every single day. Those of you that have done methamphetamine, 2 pounds of meth is a lot of meth to do. Every day I would wake up, I can't say I woke up, I would just step out of a chair, all right? And I would get in a vehicle, and I would head to Kansas City about 4:30 in the morning. I would leave Kansas City, and I would go to my first stop, which is way up by Marshall. And I would start coming down, and I'd go Marshall, Windsor, Lee, Clinton, Warsaw, Bolivar, Springfield. And then I would start it over again. I was up for like 15 days at a time, and I'd sleep for 2. And then I would be up for 15 more days, and I would sleep for 2. Over and over again. It's no life. Okay? During this time, I was going through relationships like they were candy. Okay? Because I always had some chick that wanted to hang out with me. Why did I do it? Right? We've all seen that happen, right? I thought maybe you have to really find a relationship that way. Don't think so. Not going to work. But I can remember it all came to a bowling point. December 21st, 2018. December 21st, 2018, I'm again mad at a woman. Because I don't know where she's at. And so me and my methed out persona decides that I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. I don't know why. I was paying for the house. I paid for everything in it. I probably should have just changed the locks. But I wasn't thinking too straight. Probably it was on like the 15th day of doing it. So I think I'm going to load up everything. You ever seen a meth addict load up a house? Right? You can load up a 3-bedroom house in a Grand Cherokee. I've done it. Right? You get everything inside, you put the couch on, you put the mattress on top of the couch, you put the chairs on top of that, you wrap it all down, you got the stuff sticking out, all the windows sticking out, and you drive like this. Alright? So that you see down the road. So there I am. I got the Jeep packed, right? I've got everything ready to go. And I'm thinking, why me? Why is this happening to me again? So I got into an argument with God. I screamed out to God, why me? Is this all you got for me? I'm going to warn you right now. You scream that to God, He's going to show you something different really quick. Alright? This is what God does. That was okay. I can almost see Him this whole time. As I think back, I can probably see Him and Jesus standing up there. Right? He calls Jesus in, He goes, hey, what are we going to do about this dude down in Clinton? Every time we write his story, he changes it. He got tired of erasing it. They probably just took the book of life, left my page open. Let's see what he does. But see, I got problems, right? One of my biggest problems is I get my hard-headedness from my mom, my stubbornness from my dad. I'm naturally left-handed, so I go left, I never go right. Every time I'll go left. And I kept going left. So here I am. I've screamed out to God, God, what are you going to do? What are you going to show me different? God said, okay. Let me show you something different. So the very next night, I'm sitting with a buddy at his house. I pull in his driveway, we're sitting there, he's just out, just pull up too. I'm in his vehicle, vehicle's off, not running, we're just sitting there talking. Cop goes down the street. I don't think anything about it, right? We're sitting in the drive, car's off, no big deal, it's nothing private drive, right? Cop goes down to the block, turns around, comes back, pulls up behind the car, puts his lights on. And I'm like, whoa, what's this about? He comes up, asks for our identification. Lo and behold, guess who's going to jail? I am. That cop, I asked him not too long ago, so why'd you turn around that night? He goes, I know, I usually wouldn't, but something told me to. Yeah. So there I am, I'm in jail. Not a new place for me. I've been in the county jail probably 10 to 15 times. I've been to prison 4 times at this point, getting ready to go for my 5th at this point. Right? I'm sitting in jail, I guess. It's probably a good thing. I sleep for the next 3 days. All right? On the 4th day, I wake up, and here comes my PO. My PO comes in and says to me, she goes, listen, what we're going to try this time is we're going to put you in a halfway house. I'm going to recommend that you get out of here, and you're going to go to a halfway house. And while you're in that halfway house, we're going to get you straightened up. Well, I'm forgiven. forgetting about the argument I had with God at this point. And I'm thinking, I've got about 2 weeks to make all the money I can before I have to go to this halfway house. She's gonna let me out this week. And I go, so I go back to the pod, and I go in there and I make a phone call. Again, I'm going left, not right. Okay? I make this phone call. I call the same people I always hang out with. I say, hey, they're probably gonna let me out of here this week. We need to get together, we need to make a whole lot of money. I'm thinking, I got a handle, right? The very next morning, I'm sitting in the pod in my cell. 7 o'clock, about 6 o'clock rolls around. They go over the intercom, tell me to pack my stuff. Whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean, pack my stuff? Yeah, you'll be transferred to prison. I said, no, you got the wrong person. He said, no, we got the paperwork right here. Right? I said, whoa, my PO said she'd get me out of here. I don't know what I have to tell you. No, you're going to prison. Don't argue with the jail officer really too much, because it's not going to gain you anything. So I packed my stuff. And away I went to Fulton. It wasn't nothing new to me. I've already been there 4 times. The funny thing is about Fulton, when you start going, if you go back, you see the same people. It's funny, I've been there 5 times total now, right? And every time that I've gone, I see 2 of the very same people coming back at the very same time. They got the same problems. And you get help too. We all need help. But here we are. I'm sitting in prison. So I'm there for 40 days. I'm there in a violation. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to be here very long. I get called to the PO's office. When I get called to the PO's office, they say, okay, we're going to release you. All right, what's the stipulations? Oh, we're not going to make any stipulations. We're just going to release you to hell. Okay. Now, did you run a meals check on me? Everybody here familiar with what a meals check is? Meals check is when they run it and make sure you haven't got any warrants that they can release you. Right? Now, I know for a fact I missed the court date while I was there. Because I had a court date the week after I got arrested. I know for a fact I missed it. I know for a fact they put a warrant out. They had to. They've never not done it to me before. So I make her run it 3 times. All 3 times it comes back negative. No warrants for release. So again, I'm forgetting about that conversation I have with God, right? I go back to the house. I get on that phone. And I say, listen, calling them same wrong people, making that left turn instead of right. You guys got to pick me up at the train station. I'm getting out, no restrictions. We get right back on what we're doing. Think nothing about it. 2 days later, I get called back from the PO's office. Warrant popped up out of the blue. Now, I've been there for 40 days. This warrant should have been in the system. This warrant was signed, and I asked to see the warrant. It was signed the week after I got there. Okay? Because I made that, I had a choice. Again, God was going to let me have a choice. I make that wrong step. What does God do? Hold it. So get a warrant. I got to be picked up by Henry County. Henry County comes to get me. Now I'm thinking, this is just for missing the court date. Why I'm locked up? If any of you ever been through that process, you know that the majority of the time, what they will do is they will give you to court, and they will say, oh, you've been locked away by this time? Okay, we understand that. We'll give you a court date. We'll let you out, right? Not my situation. My situation is about to be a 19-month term in Henry County Jail. Because God wasn't done with me yet. I had argued with God, and God said, listen, I'm going to chase after you. Okay? You're the one that ran from the 99, and I'm going to chase after you. And that's what he does. So here I am. I'm in Henry County Jail. I've been there so often that I know all the guards on a first-name basis. They usually walk, when they pick me up, and I walk in and go, oh, you're here again. What'd you do this time? He'll get you right, can you? But even if he's still by himself, because it's going to be better if he's by himself. Because usually if I don't like it, just tell me, you're not going to stay there very long. Alright? But here I am. I'm in a pod. I'm in there about 3 months. Nothing's going on with our case. It's taking a long time. I really get depressed. I get upset. Because usually I should be out by now. I should be out. No problem. So I'm sitting there. At that time, it's the middle of summer. And the cooling goes out in half the jail. Only half. The other half is perfectly cold. This half, no windows, no nothing. It's about 95 degrees, and they're trying to run a fan through a little slot in the door about this big. If we only put the fan inside, if we made desperate fan, we probably wouldn't use the fan. All right? So here we are. So one of the guards Doug. Know Doug really well. When he comes in, I start messing with Doug a little bit. I said, Doug, listen, what are you doing? Why don't you take some of us who have been here a while, and some of us that you know real well, and put us over on the cool side, and put all the newbies on the hot side. They're all leaving soon anyway. He looks at me and goes, you know what, Mr. Huey, you know better than to ask me. Don't ever move anybody unless it's for a fight or something like that. All right, Doug, I understand. I'm in my cell about 2 hours later, and Doug comes over there and tells me, pack your stuff. What do you mean, pack my stuff, Doug? I don't like it when people tell me to pack my stuff. It never happens the way I want it to happen. All right? He tells me to pack my stuff, pulls me out in the hall, and he goes, you know what, Mr. Huey? I don't know why, but I've been thinking about it, and I think I'm going to move you. So he moves me. And it was God moving. He was going to move me to a pod. Well, there's about 10 people that I know really well on the street. But the only difference in these 10 people is this time, they're getting their life straight. Okay? They're in there doing the right things. They're going to celebrate recovery. They're doing Bible study every day. They're doing prayer 4 times a day in the pod. So I get in this pod, and I'm looking around, and I'm like going, I'm seeing these people, and I know these people well from the streets. Many of them I've done many deals with on the streets. I've done a lot of bad things with these people. And I am not recognizing these people one bit of what's going on with them right now. The most angriest people you ever knew in your life, that would rather spit on you than look at you, are now reaching out and grabbing a hold of you and trying to love on you. Okay? Trying to show you what it can be different like. So I'm sitting there. And as it goes on, I start going, okay. I need to start, I want what they got.